2006. Mumbai suffers a series of train bombings. Saddam Hussein is executed for crimes against humanity, and Steve Irwin is killed by a stingray. Facebook is opened up for anyone over 13 years old. Twitter was launched, and Google bought YouTube for $1.65 billion. The Cardinals won the World Series. The Steelers won the 40th Super Bowl. Dwayne Wade and Shaq led the Heat to their first NBA title. The Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup, and Italy took down France for their 4th World Cup. Crash wins Best Picture. Sometimes You Can't Make It on Your Own wins Best Song for U2. Borat makes his way to America, and Pluto is no longer considered a planet. 2006 was a loaded year for the theme park world. There was turmoil across the big American chains that led to big changes, but that didn't stop them from building some of the most iconic coasters we love today. These are the events that changed the theme park industry from 2006. Not every story was top 10 worthy. Here's the best of the rest. And now for the top 10. November 28th, 2006. The land under Coney Island's Astroland was sold for $30 million. The park was owned by the Albert family, being passed down from Dewey Albert, the man who helped develop the park back in the mid-50s. The buyer was Thor Equities, planning to redevelop the land into a $1.5 billion year-round resort, including more amusement rides and another coaster. As for the Coney Island Cyclone, the Albert family would continue to operate the coaster per their contract with the city. The city had wanted Coney Island to become a more glamorous year-round destination, but the Albert family could not afford to do this, so selling the land was their only option. The family wanted to move the rides to another location in the city. This plan was met with opposition, and the Albert family could not reach a deal with Thor Equities. Astroland was extended through 2008, but closed after the season, once Thor refused to extend their lease. It was leased to a new operator for the 2009 season, now called Dreamland, and after that failed, it reopened in 2010 as Luna Park, operated by Zamperla, which still stands today. July 9th, 2006. A train was sent out on Kings Island's Son of Beast, the world's tallest, fastest, and only looping wooden coaster. While in the Rose Bowl section of the ride, the structure failed, causing a slight dip in the track that caused a jolt to the entire train. This train made it back to the station, its riders complaining of head and neck injuries, and the next train was stopped in the lift. 27 people were sent to the hospital, and the state of Ohio came in for a full investigation. As part of their repairs for the ride, they decided to replace the original trains with lighter trains. This would reduce the stress on the track, giving a more pleasant ride experience, but it would have other consequences. December 13th, 2006. Kings Island announced that Son of Beast's signature element would have to be removed, the vertical loop. The lighter trains would not have enough speed to complete the loop, so that had to go to save the rest of the ride. Son of Beast would reopen in 2007 and last parts of 3 more seasons, but this incident in 2006 was the end of Son of Beast as it was meant to be. April 22nd, 2003. To celebrate the 5-year anniversary of Disney's Animal Kingdom, the park announced Expedition Everest, the world's most expensive coaster. At the price of $100 million, it took 6 years from the planning phase to its opening day. April 7th, 2006. Expedition Everest held its grand opening, with riders climbing to the top of the 199-foot replica of Mount Everest. This would be built by Vekoma, featuring a switch track and a backward section, ending with an animatronic Yeti before hitting the final brakes. This set the bar for investing in new rides, and Disney has gone above and beyond in the 17 years since. They've been joined by Universal, the current owners of the world's most expensive coaster, Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure at Islands of Adventure, opening in 2019 at the cost of $300 million. August 29th, 2005. Hurricane Katrina slams into New Orleans, breaching the flood protection structures, and 80% of the city was flooded. This included Six Flags New Orleans, having closed on August 21st in preparation for the storm. The damage was beyond what anyone could have expected. The drain system could not keep up with the water flow, and the park was under 6 feet of water, not drying out for a whole month. March 20th, 2006. Six Flags announced the park would not reopen for the 2006 season. They were still working with the insurance company to assess the damage, and its full-time employees were offered positions at other parks. July 1st, 2006. Six Flags announced the park would also be closed for the 2007 season, and the park was assessed to be an effective total loss. They would focus on pursuing negotiations with the city to end their 75-year lease. What followed was a battle between Six Flags, the city of New Orleans, and the insurance companies. But any optimism people had for the park's future died with these announcements in 2006. October 30th, 2005. Just 2 months after Hurricane Katrina devastated Six Flags New Orleans, Six Flags AstroWorld closed its gates for the last time. The park had lasted 37 years, but Six Flags was having financial problems. The park was underperforming, property values were rising, and they were having parking conflicts with the new Reliance Stadium, built in 2002 for the new Houston Texans NFL franchise, and also being home to the rodeo. CEO Kieran Burke thought it made sense to cut their losses, close the park, and collect a big payday for the land. He wanted to pull in $150 million to help ease the pain for the rest of the chain. May 11th, 2006. Six Flags found a buyer for the AstroWorld property, and although the purchase price was confidential, after spending $20 million to clear the land, they expected to earn just $77 million from the sale. By this point, Kieran Burke was out, and Six Flags was looking for new leadership. After Kieran Burke was ousted as CEO of Six Flags, Mark Shapiro took his spot and he laid out his plan for the chain. At the IAAPA Expo, he delivered his message. It's not about new rides or technology. At the end of the day, it's about great service. Ultimately, he was trying to say that Six Flags wants families, not roller coasters. This was a massive shift from the philosophy over the last decade, but drastic times call for drastic measures. He wanted to change the image of Six Flags by stopping the line cutting, enforcing a smoke-free park, and make sure all the guests are wearing shirts. He also wanted to motivate customer service by giving employees rewards. His goal was to reduce debt, build new family-friendly attractions, and no more $20 million coasters, and try to appease thrill seekers with cheaper options, citing the new S&S Extreme Swing at Valley Fair. This strategy would not save Six Flags from Chapter 11 bankruptcy, but once they came out of it in 2010, this would be the track that they would follow over the next decade. There's no doubt, 2006 was a year of reckoning for Six Flags. They were paying the price for their spending spree, and part of that was trimming the fat from the chain. June 22nd, 2006. During a conference call, the company said they were looking to part with some of its least profitable parks. This included Frontier City, Darien Lake, Elitch Gardens, Wild Waves, plus 4 water parks in Concord, California, Sacramento, California, Columbus, Ohio, and Houston, Texas. Even after losing New Orleans and AstroWorld the year prior, plus all of their European parks back in 2004, they wanted to clean house even further. They also wanted to move their corporate offices out of Oklahoma City, relocating to New York City and Grand Prairie, Texas. They wanted to hold on to Great America and St. Louis, but sold off excess land around the parks to raise more money. The following year, they found a buyer for all of these small parks and Park 7F operations. They were hoping for up to $800 million for the package, but they had to settle for $312 million. Those parks were off the books, but there was one other park for sale that sent shockwaves through the industry. While Mark Shapiro was unloading those small parks, he also had his sights set on Magic Mountain. This had been branded the Extreme Park just 5 years prior, and they were sporting the new for 2006 B&M Flying Coaster, Tatsu. This stands 170 feet tall and wraps around the mountain, costing Six Flags $21 million. Shapiro said, Magic Mountain doesn't fit Six Flags' new brand strategy. For several years, Magic Mountain has been marketed as a thrill park with 17 roller coasters. That marketing approach doesn't align with the company's renewed focus on families. The fear was that Magic Mountain's land would garner interest from real estate developers, and they would offer up to $1 million per acre, a price that any other theme park operator could never match. When word came out about the possible sale of the park, a group of fans launched the website SaveMagicMountain.com, trying to bring awareness to the danger the park was in. Shapiro confirmed that he did receive bids from companies who wanted to buy the land and close down the park, but none of them were strong enough to accept. The overhead cost of dismantling the park, then getting the permits to repurpose the land, and some experts said that nobody would pay more than $175 million for the land. That was never going to work for Shapiro. Still, he was interested in selling the park to another operator, but in the end, Six Flags decided to hold on to Magic Mountain. The chain's flagship park was in danger of being leveled, and it was in extreme danger of no longer being part of the Six Flags chain. That would have changed the course of history in the whole industry had it gone through. Ever since the mid-1970s, the steel coaster had taken prominence over the wood coaster. For about 100 years, all the best coasters were made of wood, and the steel coasters were small scale. Aerodynamics, Vekoma, and Schwarzkopf started to change that, and they were joined by Intamin, then B&M, and everyone wanted a giant steel looping coaster. In 2006, two coasters in the US turned this narrative on its head. First, there was Holiday World, already known for their two amazing wooden coasters, and 6 years after the legend, they were ready to open a new beast. May 6, 2006. The Voyage made its grand debut, the second coaster built by the Gravity Group. This was a company made up of the engineers from the defunct CCI, the company that built Holiday World's other wooden coasters. This would be different. At 6,442 feet of track, it would be the sixth longest coaster in the world, standing 159 feet tall and being built up the side of a hill, a brilliant layout in the woods. And this would win the next 5 Golden Ticket Awards for World's Best Wooden Coaster. The Voyage was a once-in-a-generation wooden coaster, but it wasn't alone. June 12, 2006. El Toro opens at Six Flags Great Adventure. This was built by Intamin, normally known for their extreme steel coasters, but they came up with a prefabricated wooden coaster in 2001, manufacturing laser-cut track in a factory, making for precise construction and a very smooth ride. El Toro was Intamin's third coaster of its kind, and this was the most extreme. 181 feet tall, 4,400 feet of track, and violent forces. This has also taken home 2 Golden Ticket Awards for World's Best Wooden Coaster. Over the years, El Toro and The Voyage have battled for people's #1 wooden coaster, myself included, both coasters standing inside my overall top 5. For both of these to open in 2006 made this a remarkable year for the modern wooden coaster. In 1992, Paramount broke into the theme park industry, buying all of the King's Entertainment parks, and they invested heavily into them over the next 13 years. Because of an organizational shakeup, Paramount Parks ended up in the hands of CBS, and they were looking for a new direction. January 27, 2006. CBS announces its intention to sell off its 5 parks, stating the parks were outside their core business goals, that being television. This package of parks included Paramount's Great America, Paramount Canada's Wonderland, Paramount's Carowinds, Paramount's Kings Island, and Paramount's Kings Dominion. This would also include Las Vegas' Star Trek The Experience, and taking over operation of Bonfante Gardens. May 22, 2006. Cedar Fair announced that they had outbid their competitors to acquire the package. By the end of June, they announced the deal was complete. It was worth $1.24 billion, and Cedar Fair would merge Paramount Parks into their own brand, now using the name Cedar Fair Entertainment Company. These were already major parks in North America, built up even more by Cedar Fair over the last 17 years, and had CBS accepted another bid, the theme park world would look much different today. These parks have made Cedar Fair a major player in the industry, and Cedar Fair has made these parks among the best in the world. This sale in 2006 was a true watershed moment, and the biggest story of the year. That's a wrap on 2006. Let me know what you think of any of these stories and what you would have added. A lot of these stories revolved around Six Flags, but with all the radical changes going on in the chain, I think they earned it. Also, let me know if you have any theme park memories from 2006. For me, I was focusing on college and not parks, but still working at Magic Mountain at the time. I did get to ride Tatsu, and that was one incredible experience. My first one with a B&M Flyer. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like. And if you're new here and love coasters, please give me a sub. I have a playlist with other episodes in this series. Also, check out my links below for my Discord server, and my second channel where I post copyright-free off-ride footage, and my baseball channel if you also happen to love baseball. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.